The Buckeyes are recruiting with a sense of urgency this offseason. That's what happens when your rival wins the national championship. In this video, though, I'm talking Ohio State recruiting with On3 Steve Wiltfong. But first, Ohio State fans, do me a favor. Remember to jump on board and hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. All right. Now, the best DB class in America lies in Columbus with Ohio State. They got Naeem Alford and Devin Sanchez, the number 1 and 2 ranked corners in America, along with Blake Woodby. But Steve, they don't have any safeties committed yet. So can this DB class get even better?
They're in on several of the nation's best. In the secondary, you have Fahim Delani out of Good Counsel High in Maryland, one of the most coveted safeties in America. Trey McNutt from in-state, Cleveland Shaker Heights. He's another that Ohio State's well-positioned for. And Dorian Baru, a defensive back who's playing his final high school season in the Lone Star State, has the Ohio State ties. He's another guy that has the Buckeyes on the short list. So as Ohio State looks to maintain On3's number 1 ranked recruiting class for the rest of the cycle, the secondary is a place where they can still eat quite a bit.
You got any early RPMs in on any of these guys?
Well, I'm still working I'm still getting a feel for the RPM things. So, but I think by the time you guys are watching this video, I will have Ohio State RPM picks logged, several of them.
All right. Now let's move to the wide receiver position. Ohio State only has 1 wide receiver committed right now. So who are Brian Hartline's top remaining targets at the position?
Well, there's several that they're strongly in the mix for that he covets. You have Jamie French from Jacksonville, Florida, Mandarin. That's an RPM pick that I have in for the Buckeyes. Vernell Brown III from Orlando. He's another that I have an RPM pick.
Now, he's a Florida Gator legacy. You have him predicted to Ohio State, though.
I like where the Buckeyes stand. I think that they're setting the tone in this recruitment. A recent visit to Florida State, an eye-opener. They look forward to seeing what Florida does this season. Got there a couple times in the spring, went up to Syracuse. UCF's in there, but I think it's Ohio State setting the bar for Vernell. And then you have DeCorian Moore, the number 1 ranked receiver in the On3 rankings, currently committed to LSU. Talked to him after he visited Ohio State this spring. He loved watching the way they practice. He thought that was the reason. He got a sense for why Brian Hartline has been so successful at developing receivers by taking in that one spring practice. He enjoyed being around the players on the team, talking to the receivers in the room. I think was big, hearing about their experience at Ohio State. He saw that as an environment for him. And then Khalil Lockett's another 5-star receiver that visited Ohio State this spring, and I think that has thrusted them into this recruitment as well, as a place that not only develops receivers, but him and his family saw it as a place where they like the way that they develop young men there. He thinks that's a culture and a locker room that he can really fit in.
Yeah, it's always intriguing to see who Brian Hartline targets and who he ends up landing, but we know it's going to be a great wide receiver class. All right, wrap it up. What do you consider Ohio State's biggest remaining need in the 2025 cycle?
I can't give you one. I think that point of attack recruiting, offensive tackle, defensive end, is a position that they're really going to zero in on and try and land elite players at. David Sanders Jr., the top-ranked offensive tackle in the country out of Charlotte, visited here at the end of the spring, going to come back for his official visit. The Buckeyes are slated for the last official in June. And then Darren Akunabon out of Hillside, New Jersey, is another prospect that Ohio State looks to be on the short list for. Absolutely coveted on the board. So Ohio State, offensive tackle, defensive end, those are 2 places where they hope to make a lot of hay as this process continues.
Absolutely. And, Ohio State, they have a shot at the number 1 class. Steve, we're going to be talking a lot of Ohio State this offseason. I appreciate you for stopping by the Inside Scoop today.